It's a great day. My name is Che Brown, the happy entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the number one business development and revenue focused late night show in the country where we are on a mission. And our mission really is to inspire, our mission is to empower, and our mission really is to provide you, that's right, you, the hard working entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And on this episode, we have the one and only Dr. Cliff. He showed up, by the way, Dr. Cliff Freeman. He showed up and he's going to talk about empowering teams that win. I mean, creating this culture. We'll find out what that's all about. What's going on, Dr. Cliff? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing well. All is well with me, and I hope the same with you.
Yes, indeed. And thank you so much for being on the show, man. We appreciate it. And thank all the viewers. Thank you for tuning in. I know you have a lot of options, but you're here watching us now, so or listening to the podcast or cooking dinner, wherever you are. Thanks so much. We appreciate you being here. They're looking at the title and they're saying, wait a minute. He can help us really have an empowered team that wins. Here's the question I have. If you're a leader right now and you're watching that, or you're an entrepreneur, or you're in charge of a nonprofit, here's the question. Why are leaders struggling these days to have a winning team? Seems to me they just tell them what to do and they should just go do it. What's holding them back, man, from being successful?
Well, a lot of times, what's holding teams back, the number one thing holding teams back is something called bad alignment. And when they have bad alignment, it bolsters and goes into bad culture, bad oh my goodness. The whole gamut is what bad alignment goes into because people don't have the direction or the roles or they can't be adaptable to things. But the number one thing is bad alignment.
Now, I like bad alignment. It means different things to different people. So if someone said, hey, can you give me an example of bad alignment? I mean, what does it mean? It could mean one thing to one person and something to the other. So we're all on the same page. And don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into his background. Some of you already reading his bio. Some of you already Googling him on his website. I know it, but don't worry. We'll get into his backstory. But take a moment and give us an example. What is bad alignment? And you already talked about why that's so important to us. But what can you give us an example of it?
So, an example of bad alignment would be something that all of us have experienced, right? If you've ever driven down the street, right? If you ever driven down the street, if you're here in America, you understand that you drive on the right side of the road. Well, what happens if you have people that are going the opposite direction driving on the side of the street where you're driving? What happens is they crash. They have a collision. In other words, there is chaos. So bad alignment is when we don't know which direction we are going. We don't know the way to get there. We don't know how to get there. We don't know where we're going at all. And so most organizations, most divisions or businesses or what have you, corporations fail, even if it's a small team. Most of them fail because that alignment is off. The leader hasn't taken the time to ensure everybody has the direction as well as the destination for where they're trying to go.
That's one of the things that I admire about you. Great explanation, by the way. Thanks so much. Is you talk a lot about building a winning culture, if I can say it like that, winning team culture. Again, I don't want to make this sound so simple, but culture. Talk about what a culture is and what it takes. And ladies and gentlemen, maybe he'll give you 2 or 3 steps, I don't know, to have or know that you have a winning culture. It's a broad question. He could probably do a whole segment, a whole training on that alone. But I want to talk about
Right.
that because as a leader, I'll just speak for Shea Brown as an entrepreneur. I'm like, whoa, how do I have a winning culture so the team feels the way I feel? Does that
Absolutely.
even make sense
So
to you?
it does. It does. So what most people say, well, what is culture? Right? Culture is the what we do and the why we do what we do. Simply put, that's what your culture is. So, first of all, it's what do we do? We build widgets, or we help foster great HR within the company. So, if you're building widgets, all right, so that's what we do. Now, why do we do what we do? Right? Why does Walmart sell what they sell? Why does State Farm insure those who they insure? Well, because State Farm says, like a good neighbor is, we want to be there for you. Walmart says we want to help you save money and live better at the same time. And so that's the culture. Well, everything we do in what we do and why we do it makes up the culture of that organization, of that team. So if we're winning, if we're losing, if we're engaged, if we're not engaged, if we're not involved, if we're there physically but not there mentally, if we're kind of present but not present, we that's the kind of culture we build and what we create. Why we do what we do. So what is it that you do? Why do you do the things that you do? That determines, or that's how you know what your culture is. And when everybody on the team doesn't understand the why we do what we do, that's when you realize your culture is not optimal. I'll say your culture is bad, really, but I mean, it's not optimal.
Yeah, if I'm not winning, it's not optimal. I only have one gear. The gear is all in, by the way. So we're only here to
Yeah.
win, only here to be successful. But I want you to support that if you can. And ladies and gentlemen, he's going to get into his story. I know you want to know, who is this guy? What was his journey? What led him to doing what he's doing now? We're going to get to that, but I've got to ask him about a winning mindset, because it's front and center. If you get a chance to Google the guy and look around, he's always talking about this mindset, this winning mindset. Can you give us, as leaders, what's 1, 2, or 3 characteristics of a winning mindset, and why it all starts there before it spreads to other areas?
All right, so your winning mindset starts right here. Right. And that sounds counterintuitive because you just said a winning mindset. You said you got to start here. Well, first of all, what's being said? You gotta look at what you hear. Okay, so what do you hear? What have you heard about what you're doing? Not about what you're not doing, not about what you could be doing. What have you heard that you're able to do well? Stay there based on what you hear. Okay. So when you stay based on what you hear and what you have heard, you build upon that. That winning mindset starts based on what you heard. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're focused on what people say you cannot do, you will always have a losing mindset. All right. So your winning mindset starts based on what you hear. Secondly, then it goes to what you believe. Okay. It goes to what you hear and what you believe. You got to believe that you do things well. Everything that you do is not bad. Everything that you do is not wrong. And you're cultivating this winning mindset every time you go back over and say, you know what? When I did this, it was good. When I did this, it was well. When I did this, it went the way it was supposed to go. That winning mindset continues to happen. So it goes in what you heard. Okay. And then it goes in what you heard, and then it goes into what you believe, and then it goes into what you see. All right. So those are 3 steps to cultivate that winning mindset. Number 1, what have you heard? What has been said about what you've done in the past? So if I played the trumpet well, right? If I play the trumpet, I'm a horn player, and I play the trumpet well, and people say, you know what? Man, Cliff is a great trumpet player, and that's what they tell me, and that's what I hear. And I'm like, okay, all right, I need to remember that. I need to remember that because winners don't focus on their losses. Winners focus on what they learn when they lost. Okay. Winners don't focus, oh man, I lost. Because when you focused on the fact that you lost, you're going to tell yourself, I'm a loser. You're not a loser. You just lost. And when you lost, you learned something. So what did you learn from losing? All right. So remember what you heard. Okay. So it starts in your hearing. So then it goes into what you believe. What do you believe about yourself? You believe first. I mean, if you don't believe you do it well, nobody else will believe you do it well. So you ought to have some good self-esteem, if you will, to cultivate this winning mindset. And then when you stay there, then you begin to move forward in doing things based on what you have heard and what you have believed, and then you will see what you hear and what you believe.
I love it, by the way. I love it. Isn't that great? Isn't that, know that you all can step into that right now? Like, you can make that decision and change your mindset. Like, you completely control that, unless you're on medication, but you completely control that. And that's a good feeling to be. Dr. Cliff, everybody doesn't know you. I know you're famous all over the world. A lot of folks know who you are, but there's a number of folks that are watching you, and they're like, Shay, I'm hearing the guy for the very first time. I have not read the bio, no matter what you said, Shay Brown, but I do listen in, and I like to know what is his backstory for Dr. Cliff, and then what was that defining moment? You know the question, Cliff. You know what was that defining moment you decided this was the path you were destined to go down, and the transformations you were going to create inside of organizations. So not only could they win, but they could accomplish their own mission goals and objectives. And man, that makes us all look good.
So here's the truth of the matter. In corporations, businesses, sports organizations everywhere, everybody wants greater profits, greater performance, and greater productivity. Those are the three things everybody wants. Well, those things don't come through individualism, they come through teamwork. They come through people working together. While your company may have started in one person, it's not going to grow in one person. The moment I realized that teams are more effective than working in silos or working by yourself is when I was in the military. I did 7 years in the U.S. Army, um, and I learned so many different things in the military. But one of the things I learned where teamwork became critical, and I learned the urgency of working together and communicating well, and everybody understanding their roles all at the same time. Everybody remember September 11th. Well, for me, it was September 12th, 2001. I was in Korea. When I was in Korea, nobody knew what was going on. I remember turning on my television and seeing smoke coming out of a building. And I remember saying, I don't want to watch this movie. And I turned the TV off. Okay, I didn't know what's going on. Well, whenever a single horn goes off, you have to report to wherever you need to be. One horn goes off, and we're walking down, and everybody's saying, man, a plane just hit the World Trade Center. And I'm like, what? And we walk down and we hear another plane hit the World Trade. And okay, now we're like, all right, something's really going on. The first sergeant, the leader of the company, he doesn't go through all of the company attention and all of that. He literally just says, everybody gather around me. That moment, we're like, okay, it just got real, right? He tells us what's going on. He tells us we have to pull guard duty. Okay, I pulled guard duty before, no problem. But I've never had to pull guard duty with an M16 and a magazine of full live rounds. So I'm standing there and they say, okay, you got to go pull guard duty in this guard shack that I've never been in. But again, remember this, nobody knew who did what. So the Koreans were afraid, the Americans were afraid, everybody all across the world was afraid because this major event just occurred. Myself and a soldier were walking over to the guard shack, and we try to keep it light. We try to keep everything cool, we try to joke around. It was like the scene of a movie, and we walk into this guard shack. And when I walk into the guard shack, I'm an NCO, I'm an E5. I'm not a sergeant major, not like that. I'm just an E5, and I got an E3, E4 with me. And we walk into the guard shack. And when I walk into the guard shack and I open the door to a 9mm pointed directly in my face. At this moment, I don't know how to speak Korean. This Korean security guard doesn't know how to speak English. He's yelling at me in Korean. I'm yelling at him in English. My soldier's yelling at him. My weapon is up. My soldier's weapon is up. His weapon is up. And I'm standing here. I am the senior guy in this situation. And so I have to figure out, how do I diffuse this? How can we work together to get this? And Che, this is urgent, right? I got a gun pointed to my face. My life is flashing before my eyes. I'm praying in my mind. What do I do? What do I need to do? And so I stop talking and I look at my soldier, and I remember standing there with my weapon, and all I did was take my hand like this and begin to just tell him to lower his weapon. And he's looking at me like, why am I going to lower my weapon? He's pointing a weapon at us, and he could, the weapon is his 9mm point blank range to my face. And I tell him to lower his weapon, and he trusts me. He trusts me. And I'm gonna say that, I'm saying that for a reason. He trusts me enough to start lowering his weapon. And as he's lowering his, I'm lowering mine. Well, when the Korean soldier sees that we're no longer a threat, he lowers his weapon. And at that moment, our weapons are down and everything has gotten chill. And Che, I would love to tell you, we turned around, walked out of that guard shack, and told our leadership what was going on. But we still had to pull our guard duty. And so we sat in that guard shack for 90 minutes. It was the toughest 90 minutes of my life because I never knew if this guy was going to pick up that weapon again. And so at that moment, is when the culmination of all of the teamwork, all of the working together, all of the importance and urgency of having great communication, great collaboration, understanding roles, being adaptable to change, all of these things came full circle in this one moment. The biggest thing, that's the biggest moment in my life where I realized when people work together, lives can be changed.
Wow. I love it, man. And as you're sharing that story, first of all, thanks so much for serving. We certainly appreciate that. And I'm
Glad to
glad you're here
serve.
on the other side, by the way. So thank you so much. You know, as you were talking about leadership, I'm wondering, what do you say to the person that says, hey, I'm trying to create a culture in the organization, but I'm not the big dog. Okay. I'm not managing my
Mhm.
manager, but what are some things that I can do to help influence the leader that's supposed to be the one doing everything? But I want to have a role in it as well. I mean, I don't know if you get into
Yeah.
that or not, but maybe what's one or two or three suggestions? Because someone may be watching right now and thinking, okay, they don't directly report, this organization don't directly report to me, but they do, and we have to work together. And I want to help influence what they're doing, but I'm not the big dog. I don't get to write any policies. What do you
Yeah.
normally say to that group of folks?
So those group of folks have to understand the team starts with the team, right? There's three things. Let's see if I can remember these. I was just talking about these this morning. Uh, One of them is being physically present. I mentioned that earlier. Number two, another one that team members have to get rid of is being a silent team member. In other words, we have to be willing to say something. You got to be willing to go, not gossip or anything like that, but maybe you can go to your leader and share with them some things that you see that maybe you can begin to do. Be a solution, bring solutions to the table, and don't just bring problems, right? If there's something going on that you believe we can do better, you as a team member, be willing to do that. Now, what's the easiest thing you can do as a team member? The number one thing you can do as a team member is do your job, do your responsibility, do what you're supposed to do in your role. Because once you do that, other team members will begin to see, wow, Cliff is doing his part. I'll do my part, because people don't like to be left behind. Nobody wants to be last, right? Che, you said it earlier. You on go. You want to win. Nobody wants to lose. Nobody starts playing a sport for the purpose of losing. Nobody goes into business to go broke, right? Nobody nobody opens a corporation to end up bankrupt. We all want to win. We all want to succeed. And so you as a team member have to be willing to understand what needs to happen and then be willing to do what needs to happen. I like to say it's that dance between information and implementation. We all can know what to do, but it's all about what you will do. I shared with a sports team, a football team, a couple years ago, that you're capable. Right, you're capable of making tackles, you're capable of blocking, you're capable of catching passes and all of that. But it's not about what you're capable to do. It's about what you're willing to do. What are you willing to do as a team member? Are you willing to not allow your team to be toxic? Are you willing to shift the culture? Are you willing to be a solution, to bring solutions and not just bring problems? So if you're on the team, be the best team member you can be. I like to say it like this: teamwork is not talent, it's trust. People have got to trust their teammates in order to do what they have to do. And so if I don't trust you, why would I work with you?
I like that. Well said, man. Well said. And it's a perfect segue to a segment we have here. And we're talking to one and only Dr. Cliff, by the way. Perfect segue to a segment we have called Today is My January
Hmm.
1st. Now, for those folks who tune in every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you already know what we're about to do. In fact, you can go ahead and say those magical words right now. Today is my January 1st. Happy New Year to you, by the way. And for all the other folks who are joining for the very first time, welcome. We're glad you're watching this broadcast, especially during these challenging times that we're living in the world that we live in now. Today is my January 1st is our personal mantra at the Happy Entrepreneur Show. It represents a fresh start. It represents a do-over. It means our past, no matter how dark and gloomy that past is, or how bright and sunny that past is, the past really no longer equals the future. And so my question for Dr. Cliff on the other side is really two parts. The first part is, when you hear those words, Today is my January 1st. What do you hear? And number two, maybe his life been perfect, ladies and gentlemen. We'll find out. What was a setback you ever had in your life, and how were you able to bounce back from it?
So when I hear today is my January 1st, I immediately start celebrating and say Happy New Year, right? Um, it brings excitement. It gives us a new vision, a new a new mind, a new thought process of this is a new season. I can do something brand new. I can do something different. I can do something better. I can begin to transform today. That last year, December 31st, December 20th, July 15th doesn't matter. To your point just a moment ago, with this being January 1st, I got a brand new start. So what was my brand new start? What was my brand new start? My brand new start was when I realized that I can help leaders be free. Okay. When I realized that I can help leaders be free, what does free mean? FREE, focused, relentless effort that produces excellence. And I realized that I could help leaders be free because when they have a great team, leaders can lead and team members can do what they have to do. When I realized that I was able to do that, I've had too many setbacks to call, right? We all could go down the laundry list of all the different setbacks. But one of the setbacks that I remember was, this is tough for me. One of the setbacks that I remember was walking outside and seeing the car was gone, right? That was one of them. I can't even talk about that, man. I'm getting choked up. But I remember there was a day it was my wife and I, we had one son, and we had hitting on hard times. I got laid off and all of that. And she said, my son, I can laugh about it now. My son said, can I have some whatever it was, and we didn't have any. Can I have some of this? And whatever it was, we didn't have any. And he said, can I have some fish sticks? And it was the fish sticks. And my wife had to tell him, we don't have any fish sticks. And she came to me crying. I had gotten laid off, and I was trying to figure it out. Wasn't an entrepreneur, just working for the government. And I said in that moment, we will never be in this place again. It's at that moment I said, I realized I had awareness. And I said, you know what? I see where I am right now, and I will never allow myself to get there again. I see too many companies and organizations in a place of complacency, in a place of headed down the road of destruction. And I believe that my framework that I give, even in my book, The Art of Contagious Teamwork, 5 simple strategies that you can deploy today can help you have a better January than you had a December. And that moment was the moment I said, you know what? I'll never be like this ever again in my life.
Man, thanks for being so transparent to us, man. I appreciate that, and sharing where you've been, and where you are now, and where you're taking teams and organizations, which is, truly incredible. I mean, I don't know one team that doesn't want to get better, and you help them do that every single day. When I have a few minutes, which we do now, one of my questions I love to ask is, what's one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given? And I'll share with the audience that when I ask you to come off the mountain with the 10 commandments, okay, when I ask you to do that, and you probably had more mentors because you've been in the military and a lot of other groups and organizations, and you can remember all the mentors you had, probably read more books than you can remember these days. And, video, 10,000 hours, what a joke. I do that with my thumb on the weekend these days, watching videos. So, but if you had to step back in all seriousness and say, hey, here's one of, I got a lot of advice, Shay, but where's one of the best pieces of advice I've ever been given that you want to share with the audience? What would it be, and why?
One of the best pieces of advice I've ever gotten was the African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Why? You need people in your corner. We have all heard the phrase, it takes a village, right? To raise a child and all the rest. Well, the truth of the matter is this, you can't do it by yourself. Collaboration is extremely key. Communication is extremely key. Working together is extremely key. And so when I heard that, it blew my mind. It blew my mind because we often want to go fast. We often want to, especially when we're younger, I got all this gray, but especially when we're younger, we
I
want to
get
go
it.
fast. We want to do right. See, we want to go fast, and we go, yeah, yeah, I got to do it. I got to go, got to go. And then I realized that, you can go fast, but you really won't go far. But if you get some people with you to help you do what you do, you might not go that fast, but you'll go further than you've ever gone. My grandmother would say it like this: look further than your feet. Your feet are where you are, but you won't always be where you are. So look further than where you are today.
I love it, man. What does success look like for you these days? You've been through so much, you're teaching so much. When you look back and look at success, what does it look like to you these days? What does it feel like to you?
Success to me these days, and you know what's interesting is everybody has a different definition of success, right?
Yeah.
If you have 200 people in the room, you're going to get 200 different answers. For me, success is seeing transformation happen. It's seeing when an organization, a small team, a small division, a classroom, a school district, right, becomes a district on a hill. It's when a team begins to have that winning mindset that they've gone from worst to first, right? It's when I see a small organization, a small company go from just having a couple of clients or having a couple of customers to really begin to boom and really begin to thrive. Because just because you gross $1 million a year doesn't mean you're a healthy company, right? You can just be a company making a lot of money, but it doesn't mean your culture is where it needs to be. So for me, success is seeing people get the book, seeing people take these strategies and begin to deploy the strategies, not just discover them and develop them, but begin to deploy them and begin to see. Listen, when you put these simple things in place, your profits can go up, your productivity will go up, your high achievers won't leave your company. That is success for me. When I see the impact of the information I provide, of the assistance that I provide, that's success for me. That's the win right there.
Man, I love it, man. We're not out saving the world, helping leaders become better leaders, helping organizations win. I love that, helping them win or have a culture that wins. What do you do for fun?
Oh man, I'm a football fan, brother. I love, well, this is worldwide. So let me say, I love U.S. football. I'm an avid 49er fan. I play golf. I like to ruin a good walk every now and then playing golf. So
No, no.
chasing the golf ball
Are
around the
you
golf
from
course.
San Francisco? Do you live in San Francisco? I mean, what's the affection with San? Do you pay taxes in San Francisco? I mean, I'm just
No,
curious.
sir. No,
Where does this San Francisco, come from? Was it just Joe Montana? I mean,
listen,
Jerry Rice. What's
listen,
going on?
man. See, it's interesting you say that because I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, and when I grew up, the
And
Colts
now
had
you're from
already left town.
Baltimore,
The Ravens.
Maryland. I'm from Washington D.C. How can you? I mean,
Oh,
you're
okay.
from here,
I-
but okay.
See,
I fall on.
um, the Ravens didn't exist. The Colts had already left, and I've never been a Commanders, formerly the Washington team.
Yeah. Okay.
Never been
Okay.
a fan of them.
Okay.
So
That's
when
fair.
I started watching football, all I knew was Montana to Rice. And so I've been with the 49ers since the 80s? The 80, yeah, the late 80s. And so I've always been a Niner fan. I started playing golf um, a number of years ago, probably maybe 15 years ago.
Okay.
Um, and like I said, I ruin a good walk every now and then with trying to play golf.
Well,
Sometimes I
there's
say, hey,
nothing
I'm
wrong
gonna
with that
put
at
the
all,
work
man.
on
I mean, you and
putting.
I have been sitting around for a long time. I'm a Washington Redskins fan, although I went to Morgan State in Baltimore and Johns Hopkins in Baltimore. We've been waiting for a long time to win, so we're in this together. You just have to be across the country. I happen to be still here in Washington D.C. waiting to win since the '80s. But anyway, as we come down the home stretch, I couldn't resist that. Two-part question. Number one, what type of clients are you looking to work with these days? I'll say that. What type of clients are you looking to work with these days, if any? Because I'm not sure if your firm's taking on any clients. And number two, where can people connect with you? Like, where can they go? If they're like, look, I like this. I like what I'm hearing. I want to stay in this conversation. Do I go to his website, Shay? I mean, what should I do? I don't know. We're going to ask him. So talk to the folks, man.
Got it. So yes, we are definitely seeking new clients to work with new clients, whether it be a one time or you want to do our 52 week, or you want to do the VIP day or what have you. Absolutely, folks can connect with us on our website. www.cliffreemanspeaks.com, cliffreemanspeaks.com. I'm on all the socials at Dr. Cliff Freeman, Instagram, Twitter. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Instagram, X, Facebook, TikTok, and all the rest. We are taking on new clients, and we're looking for people that are ready to transform. Right? You see your culture, and you're ready to set the stage. You're ready to cast vision, right? You're ready to communicate better. You're ready to have better collaboration. You're ready for your people to embrace their responsibility. You're ready for people to I mentioned collaborate. You're ready for people to adapt to what's going on. If your company has gone through a merger or acquisition, this program is for you. If your company or your school district is looking to have better test scores, better attendance, less behavioral issues, this framework is for you. So we're here for leaders, regardless of what level they are. If they're the CEO, the founder, the COO, the manager, supervisor, what have you, this framework is for you. Now, some of the clients, Che, that we have, they start off as, you know what, we go in, we'll talk to the company, but then we'll have individuals that say, you know what, I need this framework in my own life, right? They may be an entrepreneur, they may be a small startup, or what have you. So anyone who is ready to transform, anybody who is ready for better culture, for better adaptability, you want to have better productivity, better profits, and better performance, and you want to do it in excellence, get in touch with us.
Get in touch with them, ladies and gentlemen. Give them the website once again.
Website is www.cliffreemanspeaks.com. And Che, let me just say this. Sometimes people say, well, you know what? I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can afford the services and all those things. Go to the website. There's two things you can do really quickly. Number one, go to the website and click book Cliff. And all it does is set you up with a call. Let's get on the phone and talk about it, right? Because the other thing you can do, maybe you don't want to bring us in. Maybe you just need the book, The Art of Contagious Teamwork. Okay. The book can help you. It's got 5 strategies you can deploy today. So I told you it's between information and implementation. This is for you. If you're ready to transform, this is for you. So cliffreemanspeaks.com, CliffReemanspeaks.com. I do that because some people say, well, is it really Cliff with and Freeman is 3 F's in the middle? Yes, 3 F's in the middle. Yep, that's right.
I love it, man. Let me say thank you so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show, man. I'm glad I got a chance to reach out to you and we're able to connect. And I can't wait to connect with you again soon.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, Jay. Thanks a lot.
And thank you. Thank you to viewers. Thank you for tuning in, by the way, because without you, well, we really don't have a show. So we appreciate you showing up. Appreciate you allotting this time to spend with us. And I never get tired of reminding you every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, no matter what's going on in your life, no matter what you're going through, whether you've been hit with the punch that you never saw coming or you're rising to that next level of success. The one thing I do believe is that today is your January 1st. And because of just that one reason alone, I believe your best is still yet to come. Your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. With that being said, my name, it hasn't changed. Still Che Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. We out. Thanks a lot, Dr. Cliff. Peace, everybody. We'll see you, well, on the other side.